ke Circuit of the Americas?
Mungkin saya pegang Marc Marquez, Pecco Bagnaia, Fabio Quartararo.
Wah, berani banget nih ramalannya Joni nih. Marc Marquez ya?
Iya.
Oke, aku tuh selalu deg-degan mau jagain Pecco Bagnaia, jadi aku ikut Joni aja hari ini ya. Baiklah, GP Mania, kita akan langsung saja bergabung dengan Circuit of the Americas untuk menyaksikan live race untuk kelas MotoGP.
From ninth, Jack Miller, who was awesome yesterday in FP3 and FP4, set the fastest time. He was trying to work his way through from 10th.
We have indeed missed you, Austin, and we are back. Let's hope we've got some decent show coming up here as the riders make their way into turn one. Now, this is quite a treacherous point of the circuit, a 40-metre climb into turn one. It can be difficult to get right. You've got to try and just get through there squeaky clean. So easy to outbrake yourself on the approach to that.
And not easy to overtake in this first sector. Stray offline, it can be very, very difficult. We talked about, well, not a gamble from Jack Miller, but he's gone for the hard rear tyre, the only man in the race. What are the three race thoughts of Michelin Motorsport manager Piero Taramassa? He's on down the pit lane with Simon.
He is. Piero, please, just before this race starts, give us your thoughts on tyre choices and when they'll drop off.
Yeah, we had a few changes on the grid, but at the end everybody's with the hard front, so this is that was clear already this morning. On the rear, everybody with the rear soft, except Valentino and Brad Binder, they are with the medium, and Jack Miller at the last moment he put the hard one. So this is the choice. Again, the three choices, they were working quite well. About the drop-off, we didn't do enough laps in a row, so we cannot anticipate, but for sure the medium and the hard, they will be a little bit better through the end of the race. Thank you.
Yeah, interesting stuff that then. So Brad Binder and Valentino Rossi, medium rear, hard rear for Jack Miller. Everyone else has gone for the soft. You just saw there the air temperature as well, Matt. It's the hottest point of the weekend so far. 33-degree air temperature, 43 on track.
Yeah, all the riders have touched upon this all weekend about how physically draining this race will be, mentally taxing as well. It's so hard to keep your focus riding these big bumps around the horsepower rodeo. So easy to get kicked offline, so easy to make a mistake. It's going to be all about consistency probably more than speed in this Grand Prix.
The first Italian rider to take 3 consecutive poles since Rossi in 2009, Pecco Bagnaia. Is he going to break more records here by winning yet again? He's got a bit of a mountain to climb because the man who is so hungry to return to glory here in Austin is on the front row with him, Marc Marquez, who won his first ever MotoGP race here in 2013 and then went on to win the following 6.
Became the youngest rider in Premier Class history. Didn't need to do that, took it away from Freddie Spencer. Bagnaia brilliantly resisted intense pressure from Marquez in Aragon. He did the same with Quartararo last time out in Misano. We're all set though for the horsepower rodeo.
We're back in Austin, we're back in America after a 30-month absence. Round 15 of the MotoGP World Championship is ready to go. 4 races left in 2021. Eyes to the lights. And we're underway here in Austin. A good start there from all riders on the front row, particularly Marc Marquez, who shoots through immediately to take the lead and will lead through turn 1 here in Austin.
Been a really good start for Alex Rins, although there's almost contact there between the 2 Suzuki teammates. Rins under pressure immediately as well, though, from Jorge Martin. Rins started 7th, he's inside that top 4 already.
Yeah, brilliant from both he and Joan Mir, but Marc Marquez, plan A executed perfectly. He leads from the championship leader, Fabio Quartararo. Bagnaia then in 3rd. There is Alex Rins, then up to 4th, just ahead of Jorge Martin.
Miller tried to run a tight line into turn 1 to pick up some places. Rins is really aggressive here early on. He's now up at the podium places, up the inside of Bagnaia. Alex Rins has gained 4 places in the first sector already.
What a rocket start for Alex Rins. There you just see the riders struggling, Mir in particular over the crest through turn 10.
I was just going to say, as Nakagami tried to find a way through on Joan Mir, he makes that move stick on the LCR Honda. Miller ran that tight inside line into turn 1 to try and make some place up from 10th, but he got boxed in. Miller still in 10th place at the moment.
Marc Marquez leads on the approach to turn 12 from Fabio Quartararo. Here comes Pecco Bagnaia trying to bite back at Rins, not enough room.
Exactly where Marquez wanted to be, that he got the perfect start, and now then can he execute plan A? Pecco Bagnaia thought that he'd get his head down, try and gap the field and then manage it as perhaps fatigue crept in the second half of the race. Looking back at Jorge Martin's Pramac Ducati, there's no way through there in the turn 15 as he tries to keep the pressure on Pecco Bagnaia.
We head up towards turn 16. Fabio Quartararo keeping his eyes on Marc Marquez. Marc Marquez does not feature in his championship problems. He hasn't got any issues with Marc leading this one. It's all about where Pecco Bagnaia finishes at the moment. His championship rival is in 4th. Brad Binder made up a couple of places on this opening lap as well. He's up into 8th.
Rins has had his first lap of the season so far. Quite sensational by the 2019 Texas winner. 7th he started, and he's already clawed his way up inside that top 3. Marquez leads then by just under 0.3 of a second. Quartararo second, Rins third, and poleman Bagnaia in 4th place.
Pecco Bagnaia coming under pressure. Further back here, Miller cannot find a way through on the South African Brad Binder. Miller then still in 9th place. Pol Espargaro just behind these two, and then it's Alex Marquez.
Yeah, Miller will just be waiting for that hard rear tyre to come in, won't he? Probably needs 2 or 3 laps around this COTA circuit before he's got the optimum grip, and then he'll be hoping that that's a key choice for the second half of the race, perhaps when some of the grip ahead of him fades. Marquez then in position 8, Quartararo still in that second position. He's resisting at the moment the pressure coming from Alex Rins. They're just starting to gap Martin and Bagnaia. Martin's actually got Pecco Bagnaia, hasn't it? It's not been the start to this Grand Prix that Pecco Bagnaia envisaged.
No, not at all. From pole position, and he's got work to do immediately then down in 5th. Braking into turn 11. Marc Marquez, same gap as it was on the previous lap, back to Quartararo and Alex Rins. Just in the background there, Pecco Bagnaia has now got trouble in the form of Taka Nakagami.
Yeah, the exchange and overtake there down the hill into turn number 11. Nakagami's had good pace all weekend. He's been top 6 in 2 or 3 sessions. He was quickest man in this morning's warm-up session.
There is Alex Rins there in the most recent.
Oh, Nakagami's gone down.
Who's that? He's gone down.
I think he's Taka Nakagami.
It is Nakagami, who had great pace this weekend, this morning in particular. Fastest in the morning warm-up session, but unfortunately he's blown his podium chances once more.
Oh, Taka tumbles in Texas, not what we wanted to say at all. Sometimes when there's these pressure atmospheres, there's expectation on the shoulder of the Japanese rider. We saw it in Aragon last year. He can cave in. Full fuel tank still at this part of the race into turn 12. The Hondas have struggled in turn 12, stopping at the end of the back straight. Nakagami sadly though down and out.
There is Jorge Martin. Since getting past Pecco Bagnaia, he's just started to close up on Alex Rins in the fight for 3rd as we come across the line then to complete lap 2. It's still Marc Marquez that leads. Fastest lap of the race to Jorge Martin.
Yeah, this is an excellent job by Jorge Martin. Some doubts about how long he can keep this pace though. Didn't feel like he had top 5 rhythm yesterday, but at the moment he's been absolutely awesome. 2:04.859, the best lap of the race coming in from Jorge Martin. Bagnaia though starting to get into his groove after an early joust with Nakagami. He was a couple of tenths quicker.
This is the helicopter shots through the twists and turns, the changes of direction. Nakagami has remounted, but is stone last, 21st for the Japanese rider. This is how it went then, down into turn 12. He's found it hard to get the bike stopped through there all weekend. Most Honda riders have.
Yeah, he got in there, full commitment. He was in a little bit hot, wasn't he? And the lean angle, the front tyre just said, no, thank you, can't hang in there any longer. Still then, Marc Marquez, halfway around this 3rd lap here in COTA, who leads the way. There's been no overtake offered as yet from Fabio Quartararo. Rins still there in 3rd spot, with the hard-charging Martin keeping himself in early championship contention. The gap back from Martin to Pecco Bagnaia, just under 0.7 of a second.
Jack Miller here is trying to make up 2 places in 1 and has done it. Can he get the bike stopped? Wow, great stuff, aggressive move there from Jack Miller. He lunges up the inside of both Joan Mir and Brad Binder. The Aussie is up to 6th.
Yeah, this bodes well for Miller as well, because he's got that hard rear tyre in, which you would think in theory is going to give him the superior grip, the better grip towards the back end of this race. It should be more durability for Jack Miller, so he's worked hard already to get himself inside this top 6. Next in his sights his teammate Bagnaia.
Marc Marquez did say look out for Jack Miller, 10th on the grid. That qualifying certainly did not give away exactly what the speed is that Miller had. He looked brilliant before qualifying 2 yesterday. This is how it looks then at the front as we're about to come towards the end then of lap 3. Martin is looking very good indeed, and a proper threat, the rookie, in 4th as we cross the line.
Yeah, Jack Miller's the man to watch. Here comes Jorge Martin, just blitzes the Ducati. A bit of Pramac power there by Alex Rins. Alex Rins, though, is having none of it. Squeezes back up the inside of his fellow Spaniard. Now, who's got the advantage? They sweep down the hill into this fast turn number 2. It's advantage Alex Rins. Jack Miller's the man on the charge. He set the fastest lap of the race at 2:04.631. The only man at the moment on the circuit in the 2:04. It's about half a second quicker than anybody else around in the Aussie.
Yeah, he's a bit angry after what happened yesterday, isn't he? The Australian wants to put the record straight. Marquez then, still about 2-3 tenths clear of Quartararo. Here is the Suzuki of Alex Rins ahead of Jorge Martin.
Rins knew the significance of making that move back on Martin immediately into the first corner, because if you get stuck behind a Ducati, it's so hard then to overtake it back, and particularly if Martin's got the advantage on Rins in that snaky first sector, Rins has got no chance, and then of course you run the risk of Marquez and Quartararo just gapping him a little bit, so that was imperative that Rins made that move, although he might get swallowed up here now down the back straight.
There is Jack Miller coming up towards his teammate Pecco Bagnaia. Is Martin going to have a look?
Yeah. There's no might in it, was there? There was no might in it. That was just effortless for Jorge Martin. Just wound that Ducati up to top gear. Good battle here raging between Mir and Binder. The exchange overtakes down into turn 12. They've got Zarco for company as well. This is the battle for 7th.
Yeah, taking lumps out of each other there, Mir and Binder. Mir retaliates immediately. Here we go then, rounds turn 15. We're now going into 16. There is Pecco Bagnaia in 5th, ahead of his teammate Jack Miller. It's around this stage of a race where Marc Marquez really starts to show his cards and pull away, but at the moment Quartararo's keeping him very honest indeed.
Yeah, it's all kind of bunching up here. That the pace is pretty slow, isn't it? They're doing sort of low 2:05s. The man at the front, Jack Miller in the 2:04s. Just feels there's a bit of energy and tyre conservation going on here right now, particularly from your race leader, Marc Marquez. Still that advantage under about a quarter of a second as he hits the brakes into the first corner. Orlando Bloom, he's up at the top of the hill, isn't he, at the first corner, getting a good eye on this one.
Somebody's gone down. Who has just crashed?
That was at the first corner. You could just see a bike skidding across the surface there, couldn't you?
It's Zarco. Johan Zarco has crashed out, the Frenchman, and his poor form, unfortunately, continues. The Pramac Ducati rider is down and out.
Well, he's scored just 9 points potentially now in the last 5 races. What's happened to Zarco's title challenge? It's disappeared without trace.
Quartararo starting to get warmed up into this one nicely, isn't he? He's taken a 10th out of Marc Marquez. In turn, Jorge Martin and Alex Rins are joining the party. Marc Marquez is not able to escape right at this moment in time.
Yeah, normally at this stage in a Cota battle, Marc Marquez is normally about 2 seconds clear. Not so in 2021. We know it's a different Marc Marquez this year as he recovers back to full fitness.
Simon, you got some views on the overtakes going on between Martin and Rins. Hang on a second. Oh, I thought Martin was going to have a look at Quartararo then. He's looking very good, isn't he?
Yeah, what I saw was when Martin passed him down the front straight here, past me, that Martin actually, you know, with the higher speed of the Duke, actually braked slightly early, and Rins had to dive past it. He had the back off the ground, had to leap it. He pulled it off perfect, but the braking marker is later on the Suzuki because of the less top speed.
Thanks for that, Simon. Yeah, Martin at the moment is looking a real nuisance. As he gets closer now, we're on board with him to Fabio Quartararo.
Yeah, Alex Rins won't be too worried though at the moment, will he? Because Marquez and Quartararo are not breaking away from Jorge Martin, who you've got to say at the moment is doing an absolutely outstanding job. He didn't think he had this kind of pace to go in this podium battle early on. So Marquez has got his head down now. He's just on his fastest lap race, and here comes Jorge Martin. He's moving through on Fabio Quartararo, who's going to be last on the brakes into the first corner. Whoa, that was tight. Very, very tight between Quartararo and Martin. Marquez is at 2:04.940. His advantage over Quartararo, the biggest it's been, nearly half a second.
Fabio Quartararo unwilling to allow Jorge Martin to come through on him. In the meantime, Jack Miller has now passed Bagnaia, so Bagnaia has dropped to 6th. What can Miller do now? He's got some clear air. Can he close up to the leading quartet?
Yeah, Marquez will be hoping that Jorge Martin can start roughing up Fabio Quartararo here, because then it's giving him that opportunity to just put a bit more daylight between himself and the chasing pack. You can see Marquez has opened up about a dozen bike lengths and more as they sweep down through that very bumpy turn 10 on lap number 6.
Can Martin get close enough to power past Fabio Quartararo on the back straight? That's the big question.
Yeah, well, Marquez's advantage through sector 1 was 0.666. He's riding like the devil at the moment, isn't he, Marquez? This is a significant push already from the 8-times world champion. Yeah, the advantage now, it's gone up by half a second already in this first 2 sectors on this 6th lap. He's nearly a second clear now of the Frenchman.
This is what he does. And Jack Miller has gone through, crucially, on Alex Rins. This is a great fight through the pack from the Australian. He's gone from 10th on the grid, and he's now up into 4th in the background there. Juan Mir has been passed as well. Brad Binder is up into 7th.
Yeah, there's plenty of fire in Jack Miller's belly after what happened in qualifying yesterday. It's a premature end to the race for 31-year-old Frenchman Johan Zarco, who's really strongly performed of late, regardless of the arm pump problems he's had. It's been a real bitterly disappointing recent run. It's now just, well, no top 10 in his last 5 races. Up at turn 1, he was in hot there, wasn't he, when it was a bump as well. It also caught him out, but an early back in Austin for Zarco.
Jack Miller then is now through on... Oh no, we saw that a moment ago. He's through on Alex Rins. It's a 9/10 of a second gap between Marquez and Quartararo in 2nd place. There it is from the helicopter.
Yeah, Marquez got his head down on that 6th lap, fastest lap of the race, 2:04.629. Only Jack Miller, the rest of the field, that's able to get into the 2:04s with the Repsol Honda man. So Marquez took half a second out of Quartararo on that lap number 6.
Fabio Quartararo won't mind Marquez bolting if he stays in 2nd place. He does not feature in his championship fight. 2nd place to Marc Marquez in Austin is not something to be sniffed at, and it would be huge in the context of the World Championship as well. At the moment, Pekka Bagnaia struggling. He's not really getting into his rhythm. He's 6th.
Struggling big time, Steve. On that last lap, Bagnaia did a 2:06.123. He hasn't got the pace at all. He's dropping back into the clutches of Binder and Mir here at the moment. This could be a real damaging day for Ducati and Pekka Bagnaia's title aspirations.
Just in the background there, you can see Pol Espargaro is having a good ride. He's just moved up ahead of Enea Bastianini. He's up into 9th. Miguel Oliveira is then 11th ahead of Alex Marquez and Andrea Dovizioso.
There is Bagnaia. You can see how much time Binder was able to claw back on him in the braking zone for turn 12. Alex Rins likewise, he also was back in the 2:06s on that previous lap too, so whether the pair of them made small mistakes, easy to do over these tricky Austin bumps, but they're going the wrong way, unfortunately. Rins and Bagnaia, too many we thought were going to be in serious podium contention early on.
There's the move from Miller on his teammate Pekka Bagnaia.
Yeah, you knew that was going to be
with Jorge Martin.
You knew that was going to be a clean move, didn't you? There was no way that Jack was going to make an aggressive move on Pekka Bagnaia when his teammates fighting for the World Championship, and then Jack was super strong to make the move on the inside of Alex Rins into turn 12.
Well, I'm sure they're pleased with the movement being made by Miller, but perhaps concerned about Pekka Bagnaia as we cross the line here. Another fastest lap of the race, a 2:04.3 from Marc Marquez, who's opened up now a 1.5 second lead over the World Championship leader.
Yeah, it's already starting to look like a bit ominous, isn't it, here? Another Marquez masterclass being produced so far. Jack Miller, Ducati will be relying on him to take some points away from Fabio Quartararo, with Bagnaia struggling at the moment, still in the mid-2:05s. Pekka Bagnaia in 6th place, with Binder now right on his case. The South African just a couple of tenths back.
Jorge Martin at the moment in line for what would be his 4th MotoGP podium. He's 3rd, 6 tenths clear of Jack Miller in 4th.
Well, you know, Fabio Quartararo, there's no sense in him taking big, unnecessary risks to try and hunt down Marc Marquez. These 20 points will be like gold for the World Championship, particularly with Bagnaia struggling, so it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever for Quartararo to start picking up his pace and going with Marquez, because it would be a big mistake to throw away 20 points.
Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree. There is Bagnaia, Binder, Mir. Here is Enea Bastianini, as he so often does. He fights his way through the pack. He's got great speed and rhythm, the rookie. He learns so well on that 2-year-old Ducati. He's in 9th ahead of Pol Espargaro.
A bit further back, Andrea Dovizioso has just been passed by Aleix Espargaro for 13th. Luca Marini in the points as well in 15th spot. Valentino Rossi struggling down in 18th place. Frankie Morbidelli is 16th.
Someone just went straight on in the background there. I'm not sure who that was, but someone went way too deep into turn 12. As we watch here, Marquez then. Great lean angle around 16, 17 and 18, now into turn 19, 1.7 now, his advantage. Is he going to post another lap record as he comes around the final corner here to complete lap 8 with 12 to go?
Yeah, well, it was laps 6 and 7 where he really got the hammer down, wasn't it? Quartararo's just set his personal best lap of the race at 2:04.761, but that was still 0.2 slower than Marc Marquez ahead of him.
Alex Rins just set his personal best lap of the race as well, ahead of Pecco Bagnaia.
Yeah, 2 or 3 laps ago, Steve, there must have been a mistake by Alex Rins because he was in the 2:06s, and now straight away he's got back into the high 2:04s, and as you said, a PB lap from Alex Rins, so there was obviously some kind of error, a small mistake by Alex Rins somewhere on the circuit, which is so easily done. Pecco Bagnaia pre-race said it's almost impossible to contemplate putting together 2 successive laps where you don't make a mistake because of the extreme heat and the extreme bumps around this COTA track.
This is a replay of the race start. Perfect start for Marc Marquez from third. He's on that inside line, immediately cuts across the nose of Fabio Quartararo. Further back, Suzuki's got such a good launch as well, didn't they?
Yeah, Rins had a fantastic first lap. I mean, he got from 7th to 3rd by the end of that opening lap. Straight away, he picks off Taka Nakagami. He's going to try and launch up the inside of Jorge Martin as well, which was a move he threatened to make. There was near a touch between the 2 Suzuki colleagues on that sweep down towards turn 2.
So, Marc Marquez with a 2-second lead now over Fabio Quartararo, who's just going through the motions. He said yesterday he was very confident with his pace on used tyres. The gap's now climbed to 2.3 through sector 3 as well. Martin still behind Fabio Quartararo. Joan Mir has gone through on Brad Binder, so Joan Mir is up into 7th place.
Yeah, and this is quite impressive by Fabio Quartararo because you can clearly see there he's gapping. Yellow flag in sector 3. Oh, dearie me, Aleix Espargaro has had an absolute nightmare here in Austin. An absolute nightmare. That, unfortunately for him, is his 5th crash of the weekend on the factory Aprilia. Unlucky turn 13 for Aleix Espargaro. He will not be looking back on this one too fondly.
Pecco Bagnaia looking to now make a move on Alex Rins. Every point absolutely crucial at this stage, with Fabio Quartararo up the road in 2nd. On board here now with the Italian as he looks to try and claw back a point or 2 as that early charge from Alex Rins starting to pay its price.
Got to say, Jorge Martin's riding out of his skin. Miller just cannot get within 2 or 3 tenths of the fellow Ducati GP21 ahead of him.
Bagnaia's just started to get into some rhythm actually. Finally he's into the 2:04s, his first 2:04 of the race so far, and if he bides his time here onto the back straight, he'll make light work of the Suzuki of Alex Rins.
Yeah, there's only one man quicker ahead of him right now, Pecco Bagnaia, and that's Marc Marquez, your race leader. It looks like it might all be coming a little bit too late for him. 6th place was not what we were expecting from the man who qualified so well in pole, although he blitzes by Alex Rins' factory Suzuki, so that's at least another point picked up.
Is he going to hold it? He does, just. Pecco Bagnaia then safely moves up into 5th place. Jack Miller just up ahead of him has clawed a 10th or 2 back on Jorge Martin as he looks to try and force his way onto the podium for the first time since Catalonia.
Bagnaia there just parked that Ducati smack bang in the middle of turn number 12. Alex Rins almost ran into the back of him because Bagnaia knew that just using that little bit of extra acceleration for the Ducati, he'd just be able to pull 2 or 3 bike lengths on the gas on Alex Rins. That's exactly what happened.
At the moment, championship-wise, this is going perfectly for Fabio Quartararo. 20 points he would take to Pecco Bagnaia's 11. That would increase his advantage to 57.
Of course, Marc Marquez was running away with the race in 2019. 3.6 seconds clear he was when he crashed out, surprisingly, 2 years ago at turn 12. Can't really see history repeating itself here today for the 8-times world champion. He's 2.8 seconds clear then of Fabio Quartararo, and now there's only one man on the circuit capable of keeping himself in the 204s, and it is Marc Marquez.
Well, they are the three circuits that stand out, aren't they, when you look at a MotoGP calendar. Marc Marquez, 100% fit, is a threat at every circuit, but not even 100% fit. Marquez,
that he'd have chalked this one off thinking this is a great chance to take his second win of the season. He was on the front row for the first time since that fateful Jerez Grand Prix back in 2020.
Back in Sachsenring and Aragon as well, he was playing down his chances for most of the weekend, but there's just been a different look in his eye here this weekend. He knew yesterday that his pace on used tyres was good. He knew that there were riders on circuit that are thinking about World Championships. He does not want to lose here in Austin again. He wants his crown back. This amazing record that he has in America is going to continue by the looks of things.
Yeah, at the moment it's a tough one to call between Marc Marquez and Jorge Martin for rider of the day at this stage, because Martin is doing absolutely brilliant. We're looking at him now from Jack Miller's factory Ducati. And Miller, having got this gap down to 3/10 or so to Martin, has just been able to make no further progress. Jorge Martin's just brilliantly keeping that gap to around 3/4. In fact, he's eked it out. He's a little bit quick on that last lap over Miller. It's up to 7/10 of a second now.
The only rider in the 204s, Marc Marquez, absolutely peeling away from the pack at 204.5, just for good measure as well. No one's even within half a second of that.
This is pace that nobody else can live with around this COTA circuit. Quite a fascinating battle building up though here for third place. What has Jack Miller got left? Miller's 7/10 behind Martin, and he's 8/10 clear of Pecco Bagnaia, who desperately needs to claw back some World Championship points here. With Quartararo, looks like he's going to bag 20.
Santi Hernandez keeping a close eye on.
Yeah, Martin's continuing just a stretch away at the moment from Miller. It was 8/10 through sector 1. It's now up to 9/10. So Jack Miller, we thought he was going to be strong in the second half race. He could still well be with that Michelin hard rear tyre, but this one at the moment operating in a class of his own. Michelin hard rear tyre, but this one at the moment operating in a class of his own. Texas Marquez. Said that a few times previously before here at the circuit of the Americas in Texas. Marquez 3.5 seconds clear now of Fabio Quartararo.
Again, though, you have to hand it to Fabio Quartararo, don't you? He doesn't need to win, he's just putting in yet another brilliant performance. His consistency. Pecco Bagnaia here is closing now on Jack Miller. Jack may have that hard rear tyre, but he is just struggling at this particular stage of the race, this middle part of the race, and Pecco Bagnaia has been in the late 204s and early 205s.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Steve. Miller just not looking comfortable at the moment on that factory Ducati. He's got his hands full here, keeping Pecco Bagnaia behind him as they sweep through turn number 20. And the problem is now Bagnaia, the longer he gets stuck behind Miller, the lesser chance he has of then trying to reel back in Jorge Martin, who's now 1.3 seconds clear of Jack Miller. 6/10 on that last lap Martin took out of the Aussie.
Bagnaia was half a second quicker than Miller on that last lap.
Credit to Martin. I mean, on that last lap, he was only 3/10 slower than Marc Marquez, less than a tenth slower than Fabio Quartararo. Super impressive. I know I keep saying it, but we did not expect this from Jorge Martin. He didn't expect it from himself after you listened to his comments post-qualifying yesterday.
There you go. Jack Miller clearly knew exactly who it was behind him there and allows Pecco Bagnaia through. Now, that's the first time that we've seen anything like that so far in 2021. I wonder if Miller just knows he's struggling a bit and he knows exactly what Bagnaia needs.
Or was there
he couldn't really make that look any more obvious.
Was there a mapping 8 message?
Well, he did say, didn't he, a couple of rounds ago, that if he can help Pecco Bagnaia, then he will. And he's not exactly in a race-winning position at the moment, Jack Miller, so for now, he says, Pecco, over to you.
This will be disappointing and frustrating for Jack Miller to take, though. He was top 2 in all 4 practice sessions going into qualifying yesterday, and his weekend has kind of unravelled in that 15-minute Q2 session, left him in 10th place on the grid, and after a storming charge through the pack, it just hasn't happened at all.
Miller then allowing Pecco Bagnaia through into 4th place. Now, can Pecco Bagnaia close down the gap to Jorge Martin? Jack Miller tried and did not succeed.
Yeah, well, Pecco Bagnaia's got his hands full to cut that gap. He's got to find 2 seconds back to Jorge Martin. I mean, they're running identical pace, so Jorge Martin's going to have a pretty significant drop-off, either tyre-wise or physical-wise, to bring Bagnaia back into contention for the podium.
Yeah, and on that lap there, Bagnaia was still 4/10 down on Jorge Martin. We'll keep an eye on that gap. There's 7 laps to go here in Austin. Marc Marquez in complete control, 3.6 seconds up the road, ahead of Fabio Quartararo, the World Championship leader.
And Quartararo then will have a match point if it stays as is to win the championship next time out in Misano.
Quartararo here, who has done such a sterling job in 2021.
5 seconds clear of Fabio Quartararo, who's then got a big buffer back to Jorge Martin. He'll be relieved that there's no significant pressure coming from behind him, Fabio Quartararo, because he's kind of in that comfort zone now, can relax and pick up what would be 20 vital World Championship points. They'll feel like gold, won't they? Because this man's victory charge just hasn't materialised right from the get-go. Pecco Bagnaia.
Just behind Miller then are the 2 Suzukis, Alex Rins and Joan Mir. Here we see Miller's pit board, Bagnaia. Maybe that was the signal that he needed. And then the big look over the shoulder from Jack. Through you go.
Yeah, well, he knew that Martin had a better pace, and if there was any chance for Pecco Bagnaia to reel Martin in, there was no sense in trying to further delay Pecco Bagnaia in that pursuit of the podium. I don't think Bagnaia, though, has got the pace for this young man, Jorge Martin, who's just been absolutely brilliant, showing the class of the rookie sensation, the Martinator. He's getting the pit board there. 2 seconds he is now clear of Pecco Bagnaia, who was a 10th quicker than the Italian in 4th place. And again, he's only a smidgen slower than Marquez and Quartararo ahead of him.
Quartararo himself only a 10th off Marquez in terms of his lap times just a moment ago. He's cruising and he's had a trouble-free race thus far, the Monster Energy Yamaha man. But here he is, about to recapture, you would think, the throne that he so adores. He loves racing in America. He always has done, and he has been brilliant. There's no doubt about it, Matt. You can just see here as they head around turn 10, they've definitely addressed the issues earlier on in the weekend in terms of handling those bumps. That Honda looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's been an exhibition, hasn't it, so far, from Marc Marquez. Miller under pressure here from Alex Rins, big pressure, and he can't resist, although in a little bit hot. Alex Rins on the cutback. Miller should have him. They look at each other side by side down the 6-gear back straight. I'm not sure for how much longer Jack Miller will be able to resist the Suzuki man behind him.
Yeah, this is going to be tough to take for Jack Miller after how good he was looking yesterday in FP3 and FP4. At the moment, 5th place. It would be 3 consecutive 5th place finishes, and at the moment the speed that Rins and Mir have got, it looks like it might get a bit worse yet. Yeah, for the Australian.
It's coming, you know it's coming right now into turn 15. Alex Rins has just got by far the better pace, by far the better grip, and Jack Miller, after an impressive charge through to 4th place, unfortunately that Michelin hard rear tyre not working out at all for the Australian. Now he's starting to go backwards. Miller then back into 6th now, and he's got bother coming as well from Mir too.
And here Bastianini, credit to the Italian on the 2-year-old Ducati's closing on the tail of Brad Binder in the battle for 8th. Here is Marc Marquez then with 5 laps to go. On that last lap, for the first time, Bagnaia was quicker than Jorge Martin, so the gap down to 1.8.
4 seconds now, Marc Marquez leads over Fabio Quartararo. It's been a one-man demolition job, hasn't it? right from those laps 6 and 7. They were the two crucial laps, successive fastest laps of the Grand Prix. That's when he made the crucial break from Fabio Quartararo, and from that point onwards he's not looked back, and he's just been able to comfortably stretch out his advantage. He knew as well, didn't he, that by putting that early pressure on Fabio Quartararo, it was unlikely that Quartararo was going to take any significant risk to try and chase him and go with him. It was obvious that Marquez had the better pace, and Quartararo would eventually lock down into championship mode.
Simon, your thoughts and observations at this stage with 5 to go?
Yeah, my thoughts are that I reckon from about 2 laps ago, you know, from now they'll be suffering. I'm talking gritting their teeth, pretty much everyone out there, and it's also the stage of the race where it's easier to make a mistake. So I've got my fingers crossed that doesn't happen, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it's so hot. Thank you very much for that, Simon. You make a very good point there, and there are going to be 1 or 2 that suffer. Keep your eyes on this battle between Martin and Bagnaia. Bagnaia on this lap has cut the gap down by 3 or 4 tenths, so Bagnaia smells a podium here to try and salvage something from the poor start he made to the race.
Yeah, we wonder whether Jorge Martin might tire and fatigue towards the end of this Grand Prix, particularly given the fact that it's a really physically demanding circuit, and we know how tough Jorge Martin has found it in a couple of big battles of late with his recovering body. At the moment, still resisting. 1.4 seconds through sector 3 as the Pramac Ducati team look on. There's Francesco Guidotti's crew chief, Daniele Romagnoli. He has a good long look at his pit board, and he'll see now the gap 1 on that lap 16. This one's not over for the final place on the podium.
Now Bastianini has made up a spot. He's gone past Brad Binder. He's into 8th, the Italian. Excellent work from him, from 16th on the grid, and there's a big mistake there
For Martin,
Jorge Martin is under pressure now, and he's made a mistake, and the gap then comes right down to just a few tenths between himself and Bagnaia in the fight for 3rd.
Is he tiring now then, Jorge Martin, at this crucial late stage of the race? Simon?
I think definitely, Matt. I honestly can't believe that a rookie's turned up to probably the most physical, I'd say definitely the most physical track on the calendar, and done as well as he has so far to now. But I'm sure he is extra suffering, because as a rookie you use less of the machine and you use more of your body to do the job. You know, you haven't got the experience to make the machine do it. And yeah, truly amazing job, but I really think he's suffering.
Yeah, he is suffering. You can kind of see from the body language on the motorcycle. Pecco Bagnaia, I think, is going to make light work of this ultimately. Jorge Martin, a valiant effort from the rookie on the Pramac Ducati.
Has he got some kind of problem? There's a couple of times there where it seemed like he was looking down at the dash. Hopefully not for Jorge Martin's sake, because he's ridden an absolutely sensational race, but now he's under immense pressure from Pecco, and Pecco Bagnaia knows that these are significant World Championship points at stake.
He is definitely tiring, Jorge Martin. He's struggling a little bit. You wonder whether or not he's suffering a bit of arm pump in the latter stages of this race.
Well, the team, didn't they, said pre-race, Steve, that he's still not fully recovered his peak physical best from that massive crash he had in FP3 in Portimao. I mean, if he can hang on here, this would be one of the rides of the season from Jorge Martin.
I wonder if he'll get a whisper from the powers that be at Ducati, given the state of the championship. Just a thought.
I don't think they're going to intervene. It's every man for himself, isn't it? Jack Miller didn't have the pace, that's why he was able to let Pecco Bagnaia through. Now, where does Bagnaia pick his moment? Because at the moment it looks like it's going to be inevitable. He's going to snatch his 3rd place away from Jorge Martin. Not close enough as they come back towards the end of this 2nd sector.
Bagnaia trying to limit the damage, and he's been given a long lap penalty for the shortcuts at turns 4 and 5. Just to add insult to injury, he's been defending this 3rd place valiantly, but now he's got a long lap penalty and it's immaterial. Pecco Bagnaia is going to take 3rd.
Oh, that's so cruel, but the rules of course, yeah. The big runoff through turns 4 and 5. I wonder what caused the runoff, whether he just tired and just didn't have the energy to change direction, or whether he just had a big bump and it picks him off the circuit. Oh, poor old Jorge Martin, a long lap penalty coming his way. That's maybe what
Bagnaia goes through. He's into third.
Guys, it's not actually the cut, is it, that they get penalised for? It's for not losing enough time through that when you do cut it.
Well, sadly, that penalty loop for Jorge Martin might do further damage to him, because it could well allow Rins and Miller to get by him as well. Pecco Bagnaia then limits the damage being done to him by the championship leader Fabio Quartararo. He moves into third place.
So he's only going to be losing 4 points to Fabio Quartararo in the championship battle, but 4 points that he can ill afford to surrender to the Frenchman. Just coming up now to the back end of this Austin Grand Prix. Marc Marquez has long gone into the distance. He's starting his 19th lap of 20 with a 4.2 second advantage over Fabio Quartararo.
Yeah, it's been an outstanding ride from Marc Marquez, a more than solid effort from Fabio Quartararo. Pecco Bagnaia disappointing in many ways, having started from pole. Further back, Martin then is fourth. He's got to take a long lap penalty. Rins is fifth, Miller sixth, Mir seventh. Mir is being caught by Enea Bastianini, who's lapping very well. Oh yeah, there was a big front end moment. That's why he had to sit up and go straight on.
Yeah, that's what picks him off the circuit then into turn number 5, and that's what's going to cost, unfortunately, Jorge Martin the podium. You could argue that he didn't really deserve that. I mean, just that one tiny little mistake is going to cost him so big here in Austin.
The King of Kota is going to take his crown back here. There's 2 laps left. Further back, Bastianini is right on the tail of both Jack Miller and Joan Mir. There is a 6th place on the cards for Enea Bastianini as a rookie on a 2-year-old Ducati.
Super impressive again by Enea Bastianini. He started this race down in 16th place. Better qualifying, you think that he might have been potentially fighting for the podium again, because he's doing mid 205s. He's running the same pace as Fabio Quartararo and Marc Marquez at the moment.
There you can see in the background Bastianini. Another few laps and he'd be well on course for a top 4 or 5. Martin still hasn't taken his long lap penalty. Has to be careful, because there'll be further penalties to come.
That's the thing, isn't it? He could be losing more points here.
So then, we're about to start the final lap. Marc Marquez has been imperious here. Pramac Ducati are keeping an eye on things, but he's not going to be getting on the podium, I'm afraid, Jorge Martin, by the looks of things. Just 5.5 kilometres left for Marc Marquez.
Yeah, and it has been a one-man demolition job. It's been an exhibition like we've seen so many times here in Kota for Marc Marquez. It is going to be a magnificent 7 wins in cowboy country for this man. The crucial moment, lap 6 and 7, as we said, when he really got his head down, got that hammer down, and was able to break the gap to Fabio Quartararo to over a second. Quartararo looks like he's going to take 20 impressively precious points for the championship, and Pecco Bagnaia is going to rescue
the grandstands. He can cruise home to victory. The long lap penalty finally has been taken by Jorge Martin, and unfortunately he's lost a place to Alex Rins. A great effort from Jorge Martin. Doesn't really deserve that.
No, what a race. What a race by Jorge Martin, but what a race by this man. He's going to reclaim the crown. He's back on the throne as the King of Kota, surely.
7 wins in 8 visits. The King of Kota is back on his throne. Captain America is back. Marc Marquez wins in Austin. Fabio Quartararo, a brilliant second place, and you can see how happy he is with that. And Pecco Bagnaia in the end, third. Rins takes 4th ahead of Jorge Martin, who had to take a long lap penalty, and Bastianini does get 6th ahead of Mir and Miller. What an excellent ride from the Italian rookie.
So in the modern 4-stroke era, Honda have now won 19 of the last 25 races on American soil. An absolute masterclass by Marquez then here at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. We've seen this site a few times down the years here on US soil. The Repsol Honda team jubilant, and this is going to be a lovely tribute here. Look at that, the 69 Nicky Hayden flag being presented to Marc Marquez. Get the donuts ready as well for the podium. Marc Marquez, if he's going to be true to his word, he's going to be scoffing donuts on the podium. Fabio Quartararo That's going to feel like a win for him. 20 points, no disgrace being beaten by Marc Marquez at the Circuit of the Americas, and he takes 4 points out of his championship rival Pecco Bagnaia, who was never in the victory contention at all. Bagnaia somehow salvages 3rd place, but Marquez was truly on a different level again here today in Kota.
A great tribute to the late great Nicky Hayden. The number 69 flag with the stars and stripes flying proudly. Of course, Nicky, who won his World Championship in 2006 with the Repsol Honda team. There is Marc Marquez, his father, Julian, and Tahira Kawata as well, I'm sure, absolutely over the moon. Pecco Bagnaia, congratulations from him, he's on the podium.
Marc Marquez menjadi juara hari ini di Circuit of the Americas. The Sheriff is back.
Is back, betul.
Ini adalah kemenangan ke-7, akhirnya pole 7 kali, meskipun bukan hari ini pole-nya.
Iya, betul.
Dan menang 7 kali juga.
Betul.
Performa yang luar biasa, startnya udah cakep banget. Dan udah, begitu startnya bagus, dia langsung melesat, kebaca ya, bahwa nggak akan ada yang bisa mengejar Marc Marquez. Dan ternyata bener, hari ini emang harinya Marc Marquez. Gimana John komentarnya?
Ya tidak salah kalau dijuluki Super Marc, ya, plesetan dari Superman karena
Superman.
Superman ya.
Superman kalau tinggalnya di Indonesia, Johnny.
Jadi kalau kita melihat bahwa apa yang saya lihat dari seorang Marc Marquez ini memang lebih cenderung psychological war. Jadi bahwa faktanya bahwa dia selalu menjadikan dirinya itu kecil.
Kayak underdog nggak sih sekarang
underdog,
gitu?
tapi dia merasa di saat fakta pembuktiannya malah tampil luar biasa, dan ini ditunjukkan di Circuit of the Americas. Dan bagaimana kemarin dia yang membuat orang bahwa berpikir bahwa wah, Marc Marquez belum dalam performa terbaiknya kemarin di saat sesi kualifikasi selalu menguntit Alex Rins untuk mencetak waktu terbaik, kemudian menguntit Jack Miller, dan ternyata itu hanya sebagai istilahnya apa ya, menyembunyikan kekuatan sebenarnya yang dia tunjukkan.
Sebenarnya dia udah siap.
Udah
gitu
siap ya. Dan dengan komposisi yang tadi sempat saya kaget adalah hard soft, dan ternyata tidak salah dia memilih hard soft, mampu tampil start dengan baik, kemudian menjaga race pace yang cukup bagus, dan sebenarnya apa yang dilakukan Marc Marquez coba dikejar oleh Fabio Quartararo. Sayangnya Fabio Quartararo mendapat tekanan dari Jorge Martin yang akhirnya harus membuat dia menjaga dan membuat ya bannya juga udah mulai aus. Tapi kemudian Jorge Martin bermasalah dan mulai meninggalkan gap, dan cukup jauh di gapnya antara Marc Marquez ke Fabio Quartararo 4 detik sekian. Kemudian Fabio Quartararo ke Francisco Bagnaia juga 4 sekian. Dan memang ya Quartararo tadi memberikan selamat yang sangat luar biasa kepada Marc Marquez, karena persoalannya ya bukan Pecco Bagnaia, kalau Pecco Bagnaia dia akan gas jadi-jadinya.
Betul. Karena ya poinnya kan sebenarnya dicari. Nah, ini juga ada sesuatu yang sangat istimewa di mana Marc Marquez membawa bendera tribute untuk Nicky Hayden.
Betul.
Dengan nomor kesayangan tentu ya.
Betul.
Nomor yang sangat identik dengan Nicky Hayden 69. Dan ya karena Nicky Hayden adalah bagian yang paling penting juga dari Repsol
Honda. Tim Repsol Honda yang mempersembahkan juara dunia di 2006. Itu juga yang menjadi istilahnya tahun sial Valentino Rossi karena berkali-kali hanya kalah beberapa poin dari Nicky Hayden pada saat itu.
Nah ini John Mir yang lagi-lagi memang tidak beruntung hari ini.
Udah fix lempar handuk dia di tahun ini. Dan
udah nggak bisa mempertahankan gelar
dunia karena dengan selisih poin ya cukup jauh juga, hampir 55 poin. Dan tadi juga sempat disebutkan dia akan ya kalau sampai Pecco Bagnaia kejadian apa-apa, DNF, kemudian Quartararo cukup finish urutan kedua, maka Fabio Quartararo sah dinobatkan sebagai juara dunia MotoGP musim ini.
Di Misano ya, tanggal 24 Oktober. Berarti sampai itu terjadi.
Berikan dan ya karirnya cukup naik turun juga. Jack Miller bahkan cuma dikontrak setahun pada saat kemarin, kemudian dia berhasil menang, akhirnya diperpanjang lagi. Tapi memang dinamika di Ducati ini cukup unik. Kalau kita ingat sebenarnya pernah kejadian juga di saat 2018, waktu itu Andrea Dovizioso membutuhkan hasil bagus, sedangkan setimnya saat itu Jorge Lorenzo udah dikasih kode mapping 8 lah, mapping apa.
Kan?
Ya, Jorge Lorenzo-nya sempat istilahnya tambeng gitu, besar keras kepala. Meskipun akhirnya memberi posisi itu. Dan sebenarnya kalau di kasus dari Jack Miller ini, Jack Miller sendiri kan sudah memberikan statement bahwa dia akan melakukan apapun untuk membantu Pecco Bagnaia bisa menjadi juara dunia.
Kalau harus jadi blocker saat ini, Pecco Bagnaia membutuhkan hal itu meskipun hasilnya ya hanya urutan di podium ketiga. Nah ini ada insiden yang melibatkan Miller dan juga Joan Mir tadi, sepertinya pas lagi mereka lagi overtake gitu ya.
Oke.
Ini akan diselidiki. Tadi juga sempat lihat begitu finish mereka berdua sempat ada ya saling inilah ya, mungkin saling bersih tegang sedikit. Entah apa yang terjadi, tapi biasanya kalau ada Jack Miller di situ nggak perlu ada sesuatu yang dikhawatirkan. Betul. Karena biasanya cepat cairnya.
Setuju, dan ya bahkan kan? Ya kemarin aja kembali bertugas menjadi taksi untuk mendorong motor Alex Rins.
Ya, Miller taksi. Nah kita dengarkan komentar dari Pecco Bagnaia berikut ini.
Pecco, that looked like a tough race. I hope he can hear me, especially early on. But you battled back and on the podium. Great points for the championship. How do you feel?
I tried all. Was more tough than Malaysia. It's the same out, but the track is very, very demanding. And in this moment, I'm finished because our bike was very competitive today. But in the first sector I was struggling a lot, and I was knowing that the Mark pace was better. I just tried to manage the rear tire in the best way possible because already at the start I was feeling less grip than yesterday. But in any case, I was not nervous at the start when I was seeing that the other riders were opening a gap. And then when I see that the others starting to struggle, I try to push and I finish on the podium. That was for today the best result possible.
Big congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Wah, jadi emang karena panas, dia juga ngerasa gripnya kok beda sama kemarin gitu ya.
Iya,
malah lebih kurang dapat.
Dan juga coba untuk emang dengan kondisi itu dia berusaha untuk menjaga tingkat keausan ban. Makanya dia baru bisa memberikan perlawanan di 8 lap terakhir tadi.
Begitu podium aja juga udah alhamdulillah katanya. Nggak bilang alhamdulillah
iya
sih, cuman.
Iya. Dan sampai yang tadi menegaskan lebih panas dari Malaysia.
Iya,
artinya
gila ya.
padahal Malaysia udah dekat Khatulistiwa, kelompok tinggi.
Nggak kebayang sih.
Betul.
Mereka harus race dengan kondisi seperti ini ya. Kita dengarkan komentar podium kedua, posisi kedua dari Fabio Quartararo.
Fabio Quartararo, the world championship leader, second here in Kota, and he's now with Simon in platform.
Fabio, yet again you did everything possible. Another great result. How happy are you?
It tastes even better than a victory. Honestly, I feel so good. Physically was a toughest race, but you know it's so good to see our result and see that we finish in front of Pecco. So yeah, so happy and great to see the American fans here, and so happy to have gain advantage on the championship and won so good.
Congratulations.
Congratulations then to Fabio Quartararo.
Memang sebetulnya kalaupun Fabio Quartararo jadi juara dunia di tahun ini, pantas banget sih karena dia rider yang selalu mencetak poin di semua race.
Tidak ada yang gagal, artinya memang dia
layak banget
belajar
kan?
Dari kesalahan di dua musim sebelumnya, di mana dia, apalagi tahun lalu kan, dia jeblok di paruh musim kedua, kemudian amblas poinnya
konsisten banget
dia konsisten banget, artinya dengan hasil ini dia terus menjaga poin, ya sangat dipastikan Quartararo akan menjadi juara dunia MotoGP musim ini.
Betul, ya ini udah satu, apa kalau istilahnya Joni, satu tangan tuh udah megang trofi.
pialanya, betul.
Tinggal satu lagi nih sebenarnya ya. Nanti tanggal 24 Oktober kita akan lihat akan seperti apa kejadiannya.
Iya.
Mungkin jangan-jangan yang diprediksikan Ducati bener gitu ya. Kayak udah agak telat nih gitu. Mungkin jangan-jangan bukan Cywar lagi tapi emang beneran kenyataan. Nah, kita dengarkan komentar dari juara hari ini Marc Marquez. Kira-kira apa yang dia rasakan?
Oke.
On the throne, the king of Kota, Marc Marquez with Simon.
Mark, like I said earlier, I really didn't think it was possible for you to do that at this circuit, and you did in the end. And how hard was it?
Yeah, I mean the plan exactly was like I did the race. I mean, start well, be first in the first corner, be slow in the first 3 laps, and then when the tires drop a little bit, start to push. And it's exactly what I did. Then I see that they increased the gap. I was riding in 4 high in a constant pace and comfortable. It's true that last laps I was tired and was even difficult to keep the concentration, but Fabio was far. I knew that, my instinct say that Fabio will slow down too because he's fighting for the championship. So yeah, today everybody happy in the podium. I mean, me for the victory, Fabio for the second place. Maybe Pecco no, but in Misano sure he will be again strong.
Congratulations.
Wah, Marquez pinter banget sih emang ya gitu. Jadi ini yang namanya kalau GP Mania mendengarkan apa yang dikatakan tadi strategi ya. Dia tahu, dia sebenarnya juga udah mengalami kesulitan luar biasa untuk konsentrasi gitu. Bannya juga dia harus memanage. Tapi begitu dia tahu Quartararo kayaknya juga
mikir yang sama. Jaga poin agar tetap bertahan di klasemen puncak dan ya Pecco pun sebenarnya dia bilang dia bakal senang juga karena akan dibolos di San Marino nanti.
Everybody happy di podium.
Betul. Jadi ini ya prediksinya menunjukkan bahwa Marc Marquez punya insting kalkulasi.
Bener. Dia tuh emang ya bener yang sering kita omongin gitu ya. Marc Marquez ini memang sudah berevolusi menjadi seorang rider yang matang dan penuh perhitungan. Kalkulasinya juga sangat matang gitu. Jadi ya hari ini aja bahkan bukan buat dirinya sendiri. Dia udah tahu tuh. Yang di belakang Quartararo udah hitung-hitungan gitu. Dia akan mundur juga, dia akan santai lah nggak akan ngejar gitu kan. Meskipun aku kehilangan konsentrasi, gapnya udah tinggi juga.
Dia udah capek banget padahal, betul.
Terus Bagnaia juga nggak akan nge-push juga, karena udah aman di 3 gitu kan, nanti akan dibalas di Misano, bener ya gitu. Jadi luar biasa sih kalkulasinya seorang Marc Marquez. Nah, jadi memang sebetulnya kita akan lihat, pastinya nih meskipun gapnya sekarang juga udah lumayan jauh lagi antara Quartararo dan juga Pecco, tapi sebetulnya di Misano masih seru banget ya.
Masih seru banget. Satu ini mungkin ya buat Ducati juga. Kita nggak tahu nih mungkin Ducati ntar akan bikin strategi Ducati World, kan kita punya 6 pembalap tuh Ducati, kalau bisa tampil di depan semuanya, menjegal.
Mungkin gitu.
Ya bisa jadi ya, semua yang itunya Ducati yang pegang dananya memberikan.
Nah kan, makanya punyalah banyak motor.
Makanya tahun depan.
Iya, tahun depan. Tahun depan ada 8.
8.
Kan? Membantu championship ada di tangan, benar kan? Itu dia. Nah, GP Mania jangan lupa, jadi kita memang akan ketemu masih lumayan lama nih, tanggal 24 Oktober. Jadi ini adalah Misano Jilid 2. Tapi di sini memang kayaknya penentuan antara kita akan melihat seorang juara dunia baru, Fabio Quartararo, atau mungkin pertempurannya akan lebih panjang antara Pecco Bagnaia dengan Fabio Quartararo ya. Ini seru sih. Kalau Joni ngarep yang mana, Jon?
Saya sih ya dua-duanya
seru juga
lah, seru gitu, karena jangan sampai ya masih pengen menaksikan keseruannya sampai akhir di Valencia nanti.
Sebenarnya itu belum pernah kejadian ya?
Belum pernah kejadian.
Jadi pengennya sih harusnya di race terakhir gitu.
Jadi ya mirip di 2006 Rossi dengan Nicky Hayden, kemudian 2018 Dovizioso dengan Marc Marquez.
Iya itu kan seru ya gitu, ada plot twistnya gitu. Kalau sekarang kan nungguin siapa yang jadi juara dunia sampai di Valencia tuh kayaknya makin gimana gitu ya nggak sih? Makin seru. Nah jangan lupa GP Mania, kita juga akan mengumumkan siapa yang akan menjadi pemenang QR Code Trans 7 kuisnya. Mudah-mudahan Anda yang hari ini beruntung. Dan ini adalah selebrasi podiumnya. Jadi ini benar seperti katanya Marquez, semua senang. Ada Pecco Bagnaia yang hari ini sedikit dibantu juga oleh Jack Miller.
Jack Miller, betul.
Tapi emang ini semua pilihan ban ternyata tersiksa dengan kondisi yang panas ini ya.
Iya.
Semuanya merasa kerepotan dengan pilihan
Hard
ban
soft
hard
ini
soft.
ya memang butuh kelebihan tersendiri. Itu sebenarnya tadi Marc Marquez bilang kan dia coba keluar di tikungan pertama, kemudian dia agak sedikit memanaskan ban, kemudian pada saat ban drop dia coba push untuk bisa menjaga suhu kerja si kedua ban baik depan maupun belakang.
Banyak hal baru yang kita tidak pernah lihat sebelumnya di MotoGP,
Iya.
termasuk kita melihat seorang Marc Marquez makan donat di podium, ya kan? Ini pasti nggak tahu deh, apakah dia tukeran glove-nya dengan sepotong donat, nggak tahu juga
ya,
dia.
Ya karena lagi banyak musim kan gitu.
Jadi fans-fansnya, tapi fansnya Marc Marquez banyak banget. Dan ini juga sekaligus mencatatkan lagi-lagi kemenangan menambah pundi-pundinya Marc Marquez sebagai rider yang paling sukses.
Betul.
Untuk race di Amerika ya.
Di negeri Uncle Sam.
Luar biasa dia.
Jangan-jangan dia sepupunya Uncle Sam.
Cocok airnya Amerika ya sama Marc Marquez ya. Nah, Fabio Quartararo yang semakin yakin
betul.
Dia akan menjadi juara dunia di musim ini. Ya tinggal tim ya.
Tinggal tim agak sulit karena
Morbidelli kan?
Morbidelli masih butuh penyesuaian karena cederanya yang belum sembuh.
Oke, baik. Terima kasih banyak GP Mania atas perhatian Anda hari ini. Selamat buat yang sudah menjadi pemenang kuis QR Code Trans 7. Kita akan ketemu lagi tanggal 24 Oktober 2021 dan Anda bisa menyaksikan semua berita tentang MotoGP di Top Speed setiap hari Minggu pukul 13 waktu Indonesia Barat. Akhirnya Joni Lono Mulia pamit dan saya Lucy Wuryono juga pamit. Sampai ketemu lagi tanggal 24 Oktober. Selamat pagi.
It's 7 up in Austin for Marc.